Minutes are also being taken and will be posted on our website, which is good for anybody that couldn't make it this morning. And we're also having our videographer here this morning to record it. So hopefully the word will get around. We have been, this is our second quarterly meeting with our IDOT resident engineer representative, Mike McCoy, who's with Stanley
Consultants.
Stanley Consultants. And he's been kind to, he came in the middle of October to provide information for our first meeting. We got good feedback from business owners that this was helpful, so our intention is to do it on a quarterly basis. It may be a little slow with attendance this morning because it's winter, there's not a whole lot going on out there right now, but this is an opportunity to get a brief update, and then if there's questions, specific questions for properties, we can certainly answer that even if it needs to go into a one-on-one situation or we have to follow up with you. But we want to do this and continue to do this. It's going to get busier out there. When the spring comes, things are going to get busier. This is just trying to keep business and property owners on 159th Street informed and up to date about what to expect. If we manage expectations and answer questions, then it helps to reduce the stress. And I would just want to make a note that we are now co-sponsoring this with the Chamber of Commerce, so thank you. Larry Kilmer is the current president of the Chamber of Commerce, and Jane, the executive director, is here. There's Chamber members that are here this morning, so thank you for the co-sponsorship. We're both putting the word out to everybody, trying to funnel in the questions to the people that can answer. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mike McCoy. He'll just do like a brief update, and then we'll start taking any questions. If at any time there's coffee and some fun stuff back there to engage in for the morning, so help yourself. And we're here to help. So, Mike.
Thanks. I'll give you a brief update. Probably the majority, as you've seen, the majority of the activity that's been going on has been utility relocation. And it's all utilities, AT&T, Nicor, ComEd. Basically, they're moving out to the new right-of-way lines. In general, they were supposed to all be done at the end of 2015, and they're behind. And how we see that, we see them finishing up with utility work, all complete. Everyone moved and the old poles torn down. Sometime in June is what we think that is going to take before that's done. And that's delaying the contractor to get his temporary lanes in. As probably most of you know, we're putting temporary lanes on the north side. We're going to shift traffic to the north side and then start doing the new construction on the south side. That was originally supposed to happen around April 1st, that we would be ready to shift all the traffic. There's no way that will happen April 1st. I don't have a real firm estimate now, but just this is my opinion. It's going to be like midsummer at the earliest before we would shift the traffic to the north. You can probably see we did a little bit of temporary pavement near Anico and down near Stonebridge. Those are some areas where the sub base of the actual earth is so bad there that we're going to drive piles and have a buried slab. You might see that pile driving work start. That could maybe start in April, but there's not a commitment by the contractor yet. And there are still some utilities that conflicts with. So, in general, the contractors, they don't, they bid these jobs really tight nowadays, and they really don't want to start until the utilities are completely out of their way, because it delays them and they don't make as much money, and you can't blame them. So you get into that kind of, hey, we're not starting until we're out of the way, and well, couldn't you start here? So there's a lot of negotiating. But the utilities are definitely behind. Probably not hasn't much changed. I would say in the utilities, most of their infrastructure is in. I think all the new poles are in. Almost all of the underground conduits are in. The phase they're in now is just pulling wires and connecting, and but I would say a good 90% of their infrastructure is in at this phase they're in now, where they pull the wires and connect and cut over services from your old to your new, that just takes a while. It's kind of tedious. That's really about all I have. I mean, I'd say as a general note, I mean, the project is scheduled for completion at the end of like August of 2017. I mean, I think that would be very optimistic to say we would finish by that time. We haven't officially extended the contract yet, but that would be very difficult to finish by then, in my opinion. It's really all I have in terms of an update, but I would answer any questions. Is there anything more you want me to go into?
Do you want to talk about, probably the businesses would like to hear about, especially like the electrical switchover? And I mean, we tried to post information on our website that there'd be a notice, but if you want to kind of talk generally about how that process happens.
I'll tell you as best I know, because okay. You know, the utilities are kind of out of our control. But I mean, I think they'll contact you. They try to contact you a month ahead of when they do a cutover. And then when they'll set a date, and then you're generally going to be out they'll tell you between 2 and 4 hours. And I don't know if some of the business owners are here who've been contacted. I mean, so I think they try to contact you a good close to 30 days in advance, and then your outage will be somewhere between 2 and 4 hours. And I know they've been having issues with scheduling that, and we don't get directly involved in that, but you could, you know, if you have an issue, you can always call me, and I can maybe have more direct contact with. I can get a hold of ComEd people maybe better than some of you people who are on the ground in here. So I know with the when they switched over the banquet hall, it went past, and he was in a panic. His food was coming in, so I can help out with that, but I don't really have direct control over that. And I think in general I think for electrical, they're cut over about 2 de novos. They're going, all the utilities are in general going from Gallagher to Wilcook, going from west to east. And I think they're pretty much cut over all the way to de novos, but I'm not even sure of that. But I know I think here in the next February, March, April is when you're going to see all the majority of these ComEd switchovers. And I don't know how many of you have been contacted. We don't get directly involved in that, but that's coming soon. And then when they do that, you know, once they get it all cut over, and you know, then they'll start taking down the old poles.
I think what they've done, you know, they've sent out some letters that I'm aware of, and it also is temperature sensitive. Obviously, what they'll, you know, if it stated in the letter, you know, if it's below a certain temperature, they'll reschedule it. So, you know, obviously they're cognizant of, you know, that issue as well.
That's correct. Yeah, that's right, Mike. It gets difficult in the winter because sometimes, you know, 4 hours is too much in the winter to be out without your power. So they reschedule, and I know, you know, I have to say, I mean, it's a very large utility job, and ComEd is behind, but they really, there's probably been, other than their own ComEd people, they've had 5 or 6 different contractors out here working on it, and they've been trying to hit it hard, but it's a big job, probably bigger than they thought before they challenged it. And then like now, and this happens all the time in the electrical work, a couple of the subs went out east. They send guys out to prepare for the emergencies. So there's 2 companies that are gone this week because they're out east working on the snow and there. So we see that a lot in the winter too. But they're definitely behind, and you know. We want them to be done as much as everyone else. So,
Mike, just one other.
I tried to have a comment come here today, but I was unsuccessful.
One other kind of related question, because I think a number of businesses and property owners have actually experienced some outages.
Yes.
And I haven't heard that any of that's been recent. And I do know we talked to ComEd directly, and I talked to Mike, that there were some glitches in their system, and they did get in and fix those. So some of that stuff was unanticipated, was not supposed to happen. But have any of the business owners experienced any outages recently?
Yeah.
You have?
Yes.
How recent was it?
In the last couple of weeks, I know that we were down. And one of the concerns is there any way, short of calling the ComEd number, which I hate to say it, you don't get a lot of information from when you report the outage, to know how long we'll be down for, just in a You know what I mean? Is there any way to know when these outages go out? That's the most difficult part with some of the businesses, is we're sitting there, including, I know, some of my surrounding businesses, and we're guessing, are we down for several hours? Are we down for, we need to plan a little bit.
I don't know off the top of your head, but I'll find that out.
Okay.
Like I say, you can call me, but I'm not so sure I can get in, but I'll try to find out, like, when there's an unintended outage with a business, how long are we going to be out?
Right, and then to know whether it may not even be construction, it may be weather. I mean, we're not always sure what's even causing it.
Yeah, some of it might not have anything to do with construction or whatever. But there's, they have hit lines from, there's a lot of lines in the ground up there. Occasionally they hit something.
Thank you.
I thought you had mentioned 2 to 4 hours, and is that planned outages?
That's a planned outage. That's what they tell me, that's what they'll tell the customer. It's 2 to 4 hours.
And then what kind of notice do you get that you're going to have an outage?
Well, I think they start trying to schedule it like a month in advance. That they'll send out letters and talk. I think they try to give you quite a bit of time, but I'm not sure of that. But that's what they tell me. They tell me they try to start scheduling them a month in advance. Then, they'll do a group at a time, because they'll do a section at a time.
You mentioned that the project starts on the west at Gauger. Where does it end in the east?
Well, there's actually 2 projects. It goes all the way, our project that we're in charge of goes to Will Cook Road, which is about 5 miles, but then there's another project that goes another 2.5 miles, and I don't know Orland Park that well, but wherever Orland Park goes into 4 lanes, it goes all the way to that point.
To Ravinia.
Ravinia, yes.
So it starts at Wolf and goes to Ravinia.
Yeah. So the length of this project's about 5 miles, and then there's another 2.5 miles. And the same contractor has both contracts. There's 2 IDOT contracts.
And who are they?
Judd Law Construction, and they're fairly new. They are new to this area. They've just done a couple of jobs. They're based out of New York, is where they've done most of their work, and then they've been bought by some big company out of Spain. So they're actually owned by a Spanish company.
Who's the other contractor?
But Judd Law has both sections, but a different engineer has the Orland Park portion than us. So
2 different counties, is that why? Or?
Yeah, they'll split a job into pieces. Actually, our section of 5 miles is a pretty long job. Normally they split them into 2 to 3 mile segments, but they just don't bid. They normally won't. They just break them down into smaller jobs. Mm-hmm. But I think these are the 2 biggest jobs in the IDOT Region 1 right now for IDOT. Did you have a question?
I had a question. My question was kind of what he had just said, because if I heard you correctly, you said that they're a little past an awfuls, right? They haven't hit us at all, which our power outage may have not been, it may have been an accident, but we were out for a while.
Where are you at?
Right here in the corner of Bell and 159th.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, they have
you
not.
said that they're over here.
No,
they haven't
have
even
not
really
done
come to
any
us
cutovers
yet.
No, that's coming up.
Okay.
But they have not done anything in that area yet. They're still not 100% done with all the wires yet in that area.
Okay. And my other question is, hold on, Larry. My other question is, what was the speculated date of finish for Route 45? That project seems to be going forever, and I want to kind of compare here.
I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I will say this. I know our company, we tried to get the engineering on that. That's got to be like 6 years ago. So it must be way overdue. I know IDOT is sensitive to telling us that they don't want this to end up like that. They told us that.
Well, I mean, is it contractor error or is it IDOT error? What's the problem so we know that it won't happen here?
I don't know the details, but I do think a lot of it was utility related. The utilities were behind. But I don't know that. I just don't know exactly.
I was at one of those meetings in Orland Park. 159 south to 80 is supposed to be done next year. And beyond that, there's really no commitment between 143rd and 159th. They're just way behind. definitely beyond 2017.
Well, how can they start another project then if they're not done on one side? I mean, really?
Different
Is
Well,
it-
I know that, and I don't know a lot of the details, and like, our job ends at Will Cook, but I think that was, Orland Park had some concerns with IDOT. Hey, don't start this till, we don't want you to start this till this is done. I think there were some discussions.
So it's more Orland, maybe Orland Park, where you and Homer have a relationship?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I don't really, I mean, our job, we have the intersection of our company and this contract has the intersection of Will Cook, so we go about 300 feet past that, so I don't really deal with Orland Park very much. But we have some joint meetings with the other contract, and there's representatives there, so I've just kind of heard some of this stuff.
You don't want to be in those meetings.
We have some joint meetings together, mainly because it's the same contractor.
No, because it's hurting businesses. It's, it would hurt us to see it coming over to Homer, the same setup,
Yeah.
for years. We're talking years.
Well, this will be years.
I hope.
Hopefully not too many years, you know. I mean, like I say, we haven't extended the completion date to the end of next year yet. That might be hard to accomplish, but we have a lot of provisions for keeping businesses open and,
Okay.
you know, we do the best we can.
I know.
But yes, I understand.
These hour cutovers, are they done during working hours or off hours?
I think both. I think they do both if you want, you know, depending on the business, I think they do it both ways. They will do it at night. I mean, I think that's something that you work it out with them, but I think they will do some when the businesses are closed. I think they will do that.
I should hope so.
Yeah.
A lot of your Edison crews are tied up on 135th Street because they're widening it from New Avenue to Archer. So there's probably about 10 Edison trucks out there now because they're moving the poles roughly about 3 lanes over, all of them.
See, on our job and the Orland Park part, ComEd has primarily used subcontractors and not their own crews. We've had a little of their own crews here, but they primarily use subcontractors.
That's one of the big jobs in Will County that the county is running is 135th, and then they have Brake Street. They're running from Mills to Laraway. They're putting water in for the new sheriff's station, and they're moving a lot of stuff out there.
It's a really big, I mean, I've been involved in a lot of construction over the years, but in terms of the scope of utility relocation, this is the biggest I've ever seen. You know, it's like everything has to be moved. And then, like AT&T is not strictly, I mean, they're moving it, but they're also expanding their facilities too, because they know this is going to be growth area. So they're putting, they're not just relocating, they're expanding too. And I think ComEd is too. They're putting bigger pipes in, so there's future for more, you know, more wireless, more infrastructure for computers and stuff. And so AT&T is also upgrading, and I think ComEd is too. They're putting more backfeeds in, so that they can. So if there is, you know, something's hit, they can backfeed you right away. So it's not strictly relocation. They're upgrading their facilities too. But they're huge projects. I think they're switching over a lot to fiber in a lot of cases. AT&T is. In general, they're going off poles and underground, AT&T and Comcast, but not 100%. They're staying on poles in some areas.
That's what all the bolts were.
Yeah. I mean, they're putting in huge, I mean, you probably have been out there, the manholes that AT&T is putting in for their underground are like 4 by 8 by 6 feet deep. They're huge, huge manholes they're putting in. So then there's no, you know, the others, what they're replacing are just those little square boxes. So they're putting in a huge facility, which is for the future. They're expecting growth, as you are, I suppose.
Long term.
Yeah.
I don't, go ahead, Dawn.
Sorry. I have a question about signage. Our business is on 159th and Wolcott, and with the plastic visqueen fencing, our sign is visibly obstructed. And so we're a sandbox school, we're currently enrolling, and our enrollment, is ongoing until we're full. Our school year doesn't begin until September. I'm going to be applying for a temporary sign so that we can get something that's a little bit higher, because you can't see it with all the blockage. And then in case we have a Washington DC snowstorm here, snow would even obstruct it. But my understanding for the village is if you have a temporary sign, it can't be displayed for more than 90 days in a calendar year. Is there any, and maybe this isn't the right forum, but for those of us who would like to put some kind of a temporary sign out there, is there any consideration, while this construction is going on, that we could have an extension beyond the 90 days? Is that something that?
Well, I think that would be more of a question to
That
the
would be
village.
a local thing, right? We have a couple of our trustees are here and our interim village manager is here. It's something that, we can record from this meeting and share with everybody that this came up as a question.
In terms of if some of the construction operations are causing visibility issues, I can deal with those on a case-by-case basis, it's not a big thing.
Yeah, we have a sign that,
Don't you have a new sign?
we do, we have a brand new,
right?
very expensive sign.
Yeah.
That I'd love to be able to display, but we won't be able to showcase that until, all the construction's done, as I'm sure many of the businesses, here are having issues too. So I know temporary signs are gonna be put up, placed so that, people know that, well, we're all open for business, but something more to the effect of maybe now registering, something that's a little bit more, like we've got summer camp registrations that'll be coming up, or just, now registering, just so that people understand that during this period of time, there's something going on.
John, your issue, because your new sign is in,
Yes.
but the area on your sign that you use to do seasonal information, that is at the bottom of the sign, and that
Correct.
is being blocked by what?
That is obstructed. There's a black visqueen
Silk.
kind of
Silk fence, yeah.
the fence
Okay.
that goes along, and so the height of that seasonal sign is below that. So as you're driving along 159, it's very difficult to see. To somebody who's driving
But
along.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But the answer about the silt fence is it needs to stay there, so we need to find some other solution.
Yeah,
right?
silt, in general, it's hard for us to take silt fence, depending on the area, but, usually that's in per plan.
It's there for a reason.
It's there for a reason,
Yeah.
not always, but in general. But I'll look at it.
And we'll follow up on this, making sure the village board understands there was input this morning.
I was just going to say, we can take that to a committee and discuss it with members of the board who are on that committee. And then if, whatever recommendation they come up with, we can then take to the village board for it to be voted on. But I know that the village is obviously very sympathetic to your concerns, and more than likely, will take the stance of being proactive to help you with your enrollment issues.
That'd be great. And any suggestions, or, if anybody's found a successful solution to any signage, I'd be, very happy to hear whatever signs work best.
I can have our Director of Planning and Zoning, Mike Schwartz, contact you.
Okay.
And we'll get your information, and we'll get back to you with what comes out of the committee, and keep you posted, okay?
Thank you.
And I'll look at the silt fence, see if it's necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Does anybody else have any specific property question? I don't know if this is a good time to talk about what the village is doing with utility extension to the western border. Mike, do you mind just?
Right now, we're looking at potential sewer and water, basically between Cedar Road and Garber Road. water main along 159th Street and then the sanitary sewer a little bit north of that, kind of in the valley. So right now, we're just in the design stages of that, so we're hoping to get those in fairly quick though.
So, and then the water line planning would be coordinated with what's going on with IDOT to get it in before the heavy construction starts?
Correct.
So the timing for that right now is looking like?
I mean, we have been coordinating with IDOT and
We're working with them, and, you know, it's hard for me to give them exact dates, but, I mean, it'll be done this year.
Yeah, I think.
It's probably early.
Yeah.
Is the way it looks to me now, but.
Yeah.
But we're coordinating with them, and, you know, it's just a matter of, you know, what the main issue with IDOT is, we're okay with you putting it in our right of way, but please don't do anything that will impact our contractor, because then they ask for more money.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I won't be able to coordinate that.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to work something, you know, the location of it, and, you know, we've already got that fairly well.
That's pretty well
planned.
tied down, yes.
So, and IDOT, we've submitted some, you know, 50% plans to IDOT for their review already, so.
No, the sewer's not going on 159th, right?
No, the sewer won't be anywhere, you know, it'll be well north, it basically following.
Comes in the back way, right? Yeah.
So if there's nothing else, I mean, we respect your time, and there's coffee and coffee cake back there, and you can stay around and ask any other specific questions, but if there's nothing further, we can go ahead.
I've met a lot of people out there, but you can always call me. I can't always help you.
Does everybody have Mike's phone number?
You can call me. You can call me anytime. Anytime.
Thank you very much, Mike.
All right, thanks.
And thanks, everybody, for coming this morning.